Hi, I'm Jacqueline Fisher, a trauma-informed therapist, educator, and the founding CEO of Focus First Counseling and Education, Inc. I help people turn pain into purpose, and this series is part of that path. This educational video series is brought to you by Focus First Counseling and Education, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit organization in Blythe, California, and made possible through the support of the RAP Foundation, whose mission is to strengthen nonprofits and community wellness. Together, we're creating conversations that reduce stigma, promote healing, and offer accessible tools to support your mental health and emotional well-being. Today, we're exploring the connection between movement, mindfulness, and mental health. Specifically, how something as simple as walking can transform the way our brains function and the way our bodies heal. When we think about mental health, we often focus on the mind, our thoughts, emotions, and patterns. But so much of what supports our mental well being happens through the body. Walking, something simple and available to most of us, is one of the most powerful ways we can support brain health, mood, and resilience. Each time we walk, more than 80% of the muscles in our body engage. That movement increases blood flow to the brain, encourages neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells, and strengthens neural pathways involved in attention, memory, learning, and emotional regulation. When we walk, our brains literally light up. In Spark, the revolutionary new science of exercise and the brain, Dr. John Ratey explains that exercise acts like medicine, improving learning, mood, and resilience. He writes that exercise is one of the most powerful tools we have to optimize brain function. Neuroscience confirms this. Regular physical activity increases activity in the hippocampus, the part of the brain involved in memory, learning, and emotional regulation, while helping balance cortisol, our primary stress hormone. Over time, that balance helps us recover from stress more effectively and think more clearly. Our brains are designed to grow and adapt, no matter our age or history. That's what makes walking one of the simplest, most hopeful tools available for lifelong mental health. Walking doesn't just strengthen our brains chemically, it strengthens them emotionally as well. When we walk with awareness, paying attention to our breath, our pace, and our surroundings, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system. We shift from survival towards presence. Every mindful step becomes an act of recovery. Each breath and footfall becomes an invitation to feel safe in our bodies again. As a therapist, I often talk about walking from the perspective of neuroscience. I talk about the hippocampus, the amygdala, the nervous system. I talk about how movement can improve mood, reduce stress, and support emotional healing. But some of the most meaningful lessons I've learned about walking didn't come from a textbook. They came from experience. As I prepared this lesson, I found myself reflecting on an experience that brought many of these concepts to life for me. Earlier this year, I participated in the Chimayó pilgrimage in New Mexico alongside my friend Carmela. What I experienced during that journey deepened my understanding of walking, healing, and the powerful connection between movement and meaning. When we began the pilgrimage that morning, it wasn't peaceful. It was dark. It was cold. We were walking alongside a freeway while cars and semi-trucks sped past us. In those early miles, my attention stayed focused on my surroundings. I was paying attention to traffic, to the people around me, to the conditions we were walking in. And honestly, I could understand why so many people are injured or even lose their lives during pilgrimages like this. The risks are real. There were moments when I felt vulnerable, moments when I was very aware of how small we were compared to the vehicles rushing past us. At first, my thoughts were focused on safety, on the darkness, on the cold, on what was happening around me. But as the miles passed beneath my feet that day, something began to change. My breathing became steady and rhythmic. My thoughts became clearer, less focused on fear, and more focused on the present moment. The rhythm of the walking seemed to settle something within me. That same rhythm we talk about in neuroscience. The same rhythm that helps organize the nervous system. The same rhythm that reminds the body it can keep moving forward. As I settled into my walk, my awareness expanded. I became aware of the changing light, the beauty of the landscape, the people walking beside us, the stories unfolding all around me. There were moments when I found myself completely immersed in the experience, moments of awe, moments of gratitude, moments of connection. At times, discomfort would bring my attention back into my body. A sore muscle, a thirst, a moment of fatigue. And each time that happened, I found myself returning to prayer. Prayers for my community, prayers for my family, prayers for people I love, prayers for hopes and dreams that are still unfolding. I chose not to wear headphones. I didn't listen to music. I wanted to be completely immersed in the moment. I wanted to hear the conversations, the footsteps, the wind, the sounds of people encouraging one another. I wanted to experience the walk exactly as it was. What stayed with me most was not the distance. It was the people, the generosity of those who lined the route, offering water, fruit, encouragement, and some of the most refreshing agua fresca I've ever tasted. The commitment of the people walking through pain, people using crutches, people carrying injuries, people enduring discomfort while continuing forward. Witnessing that level of commitment was humbling. It reminded me that human beings are capable of extraordinary perseverance when they are connected to purpose. What struck me most was the sense of connection, connection to culture, connection to faith, connection to family, connection to community, and connection to something larger than ourselves. It was one of the most powerful examples of resilience, generosity, and human spirit that I have ever witnessed. And it reminded me that while neuroscience can explain what happens in the brain when we walk, some experiences are felt before they are understood. Sometimes healing happens one step at a time, and sometimes those steps lead us back to ourselves. Let's settle in together. If it's comfortable, place both feet on the ground. Take a slow breath in your nose, lower your shoulders, unclench your jaw, and exhale fully. Take another slow breath. Notice the ground supporting you. Notice your breathing. Notice the sensations in your body. If you're able, take a few slow steps. Feel your feet make contact with the ground. Notice your pace. Notice your balance. This is mindful walking. Movement, breath, awareness, working together. When we engage this way, We teach our nervous system that it's safe to move forward, physically and emotionally. Take a moment to reflect. What does movement mean to me? Is it escape, expression, healing, connection? There is no right answer. Just notice what comes up. We've talked about the science of walking, how it supports the brain, how it helps regulate the nervous system, how it can improve mood, attention, and emotional resilience. Now let's talk about something deeper. Walking as connection, walking as relationship, walking as meaning. That experience in New Mexico deepened my appreciation for the land we call home here in Blythe. Because long before modern neuroscience gave us language for nervous system regulation, people understood that movement, ceremony, reflection, and relationship with the land could change us. Here in Blythe, the land holds stories far older than us. The Blythe Giant Intaglios remind us that walking with intention is not a new idea. It's an ancient one. Before walking on this land, we acknowledge that it is the ancestral territory of the Quechan, Mojave, Chimayó, and other tribal nations who have cared for this desert for generations. We honor the wisdom carried in the land, the people who continue to protect it, and the traditions that help us understand our relationship with it. Alfredo Figueroa shared in his book, Blythe Giant Intaglios, that the ancient people who created these geoglyphs traveled extraordinary distances. Their journeys stretched from what is now Mexico City through Blythe and continued north into what we now know as Alaska. As I reflected on my own pilgrimage, I found myself thinking about those ancient travelers. What did they notice as they walked? What prayers did they carry? What stories were exchanged along the way? How did the rhythm of walking shape their relationship with the land, with one another, and themselves? Alfredo teaches that the desert is alive, that it listens, that it teaches, and that it remembers. Those teachings continue today through his family, through the Sacred Land Protectors Circle, and through those who continue to care for and learn from this land. The distances may have been different. The purposes may have been different. But walking has connected human beings to meaning for thousands of years. Perhaps one reason walking continues to be so powerful today is because the human brain and nervous system still respond to many of the same things they always have: rhythm, connection, community, purpose, reflection, and the feeling of belonging to something larger than ourselves. Science shows that time in nature calms the amygdala, the brain's fear center, while increasing activity in the prefrontal cortex, where empathy, creativity, reflection, and decision-making live. So walking in nature literally changes how our brain functions. In Forgotten Home Apothecary, we are reminded that healing is often found in what is already around us: plants, roots, traditional practices, and the relationships we build with the natural world. Whether we are walking on a pilgrimage route in New Mexico, walking among the Blythe Giant Intaglios, walking through our neighborhoods, or simply walking across our living room, something meaningful can happen when we choose to walk with awareness. If it's safe to do so, take a short walk this week. Notice the light, notice the air, notice the sounds around you. Notice your breath. With each step, silently repeat, I am here, I am present. Walking with awareness turns movement into a mindfulness practice. Each step becomes an opportunity to reconnect with ourselves. Each step becomes an opportunity to heal. After today's lesson, reflect on this. When I walk, what am I walking toward? And what am I walking away from? Notice what comes up without judgment. The answer may change each day. If this lesson inspired you, take one mindful walk this week. Even 5 minutes is enough. Walk without distractions. No phone, no music, no agenda. Just you, your breath, and the ground beneath your feet. In our next lesson, we'll build on this connection as we explore grounding and rooting through nature and gardening, bringing the healing energy of the earth directly into our hands and homes. Until then, keep walking, gently, intentionally, and with purpose. Healing is always just a couple of steps away. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you have the ability to turn pain into purpose. Until next time, take good care of yourself. To learn more or connect with our work, you can visit ffcei.org. We're here and we believe in your healing.